Hello, this is my interview number two. I am going to interview an educator by the name of Jacqueline Ray. Jacqueline, tell us a little bit of your experience as an educator.
Um, so I have been a teacher for about 3 years. I earned my master's in education, and I'm certified to teach secondary, so middle and high school English and history. I've worked in two different contexts, in a public school in Philadelphia and in an independent school in Baltimore City, where I've
Okay,
taught high school English and middle school English and history.
great. And where did you go to college, Jacqueline?
I did my BA in English at the College of William and Mary, my master's in education at the University of Pennsylvania, and I'm currently pursuing my Doctor of Education at the University of Pennsylvania.
Great. What have been the most significant changes in your industry throughout your career?
Um, Throughout my career, though it's been quite short, I would say that some of the most significant changes are around standards. So this goes back a bit, but in the 80s there was this report that was issued by in the United States government, and it was called A Nation at Risk, and it basically described the state of the American education system. Claiming that our standards for learning, for teaching and learning, need to be higher in order for us to be global competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Yeah.
coming out of the age of like the Cold War space race, and we're looking to be more competitive. And so over the course of the decades, I mean, since the 80s through the 90s, and even now, this idea of standards, you hear Common Core, state standards, there's been push for federal standards for education. So teachers and schools are constantly negotiating, with local governments and with school districts, what standards should their students be adhering to. And so I think the standards debate, the competency debate has been pretty prevalent. And a lot of schools have tried to move away from, these kind of standards that certain school districts or students find it challenging to meet, and explore some more innovative approaches to learning, whether it's inquiry driven, project based learning, things of that nature. A lot of technology has been incorporated into schools to make learning more advanced and innovative.
Okay. Okay. That's a pretty that was an excellent answer, which you actually answered. My third question was going to be, in your role as an educator, how do you manage change in your career? But I do hear that you're saying that you how you approach that change. So that answered that question as well. Thank you. How would you characterize your style of teaching?
Um, so I'm very much into kind of inquiry driven learning. So I like for my students to be critical thinkers. So the whole kind of rote memorization, just learning to produce answers and responses on a test. Though testing and scoring high on testing is important, I like for my students to be able to critically engage with the world. So I like to bring in current events, relevant events, incorporate a lot of technology. I do a lot of projects. I had sixth graders build websites around a research project on water crises around the world. So it kind of had that global, historical, technological component, and they presented them. I'm big into writing and writing clearly and developing clear, well-supported arguments, particularly in this age of like, alternative facts and, looking at reliable sources and where do we actually get our information. So my approach to teaching is very much kind of preparing students to be, active participants in our democracy and global citizens.
Excellent. That also answered my next question would be as to how would you offer specific examples, and you did that. So thank you for that as well. Do you use social networks at all in your teaching career?
Me they're used, it can get a bit distracting, especially when we're talking about kids that are in middle and high school. I mean, these students, just to be perfectly honest, are very well versed in social media and they're aware of how it works. And so I think that it can be a powerful tool. I have friends who, for example, will have like an Instagram page and they'll actually post homework assignments to like their classroom Instagram. So if kids, naturally being on social media,
Mm-hmm.
like forget to write down their homework, they can go on Instagram and find. And then, like I've used discussion boards and stuff like that, like online
Mm-hmm.
discussion boards that are
Mm-hmm.
very much academic tools. So
Okay.
I'll use online academic tools, but not social networks as in like, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay. And I agree with that concept because I feel like social media has lessened our ability to think on our
Yeah.
own independently. Um, Next, I'd like to ask you, does your career thrive on do your colleagues, I'm sorry, let me ask this the right way. Do your colleagues and your environment and culture of education thrive on change? Or does it dread change?
That's a good question. I think it depends on who you ask. I think there are, I've been fortunate to work in two contexts where change is really important. There are some very traditional conservative schools who like the traditional approaches, pedagogical approaches, and don't want to change anything whatsoever. But I think as we move, forward with our in our global economy and with in our political socioeconomic climate, innovation is key. There are so many conversations, and I'm thinking that my dissertation is going to be around innovation in schools and the way innovation is taken up. And innovation is change, right? How do we do learning differently? And I've been looking at the way, schools do that pedagogically. So I think that change, most people embrace it because you have to keep up with the times, right? And especially if you're in something like a private school sector,
Mm-hmm.
where it's very much a business model, you're depending on parents and families and community members investing in your school. And even as a public school, if you want to be a high performing school, if you want to receive funding, accountability, like you have to perform,
Absolutely.
and so change is important.
I agree.
And then for me, I don't dread change. I think it's important, but I also believe you don't need to fix what's not broken either. So if something is working well, leave it be.
Okay, that's excellent. You actually answered the second part of my question as to how you embrace change, and it sounds like you very much do encourage it. So that's excellent. Jacqueline, I'd like to thank you for the time you've taken with me to interview and share your expertise in your field, and I wish you the best of luck in your future.
Thank you.